Hello once again. Um, I want to bring some closure to this sorry THBC saga, but I can't do that while these guys continue with their stance and grow bolder by the day of exploiting people. I'll explain all that in a minute, but before I do so, this video is primarily addressed to Atabai, ex-councillor, and Harumbai, current councillor. Now, before you get a fright and run off and say, why is this guy involving me? Please take a moment to hear what I have to say and then decide. Now, first part first, what is the problem that we have in this club at the moment? It is obviously a general issue of community problems. It is also one of cultural incompetence and greed, of course. You know, for small things, pesky little things, but greed has played a big part here. Now, the cultural side of things. Now, in our society, we expect big brothers and the elders in the community to do certain things to actually keep order. Yeah, it's a well-established principle, and it works. Now, a couple of weeks ago, when people were saying various things on one of the Facebook posts that I put on, and some people were saying things in ways that did not seem right, you took a conscious decision to step in because you felt a moral duty to say something. Now, obviously, I can say a lot about all the other people within the management who were actually listening, and they saw the post and they could have stepped in themselves, but no, I'll tell you more about how they exploit people in a minute. But you made that decision. You came in and you said what needed to be said. You didn't tell people to get lost, shut up, and move and stop talking. You just said the right things, which is to carry on talking, but say it in nice ways. And it worked, because very soon after that I became Sasa again, and I'm grateful for that, because I'm happy for people to say things to me. I'm happy for people to try and explain why I'm wrong, etc. I have no problems with that. I told everybody that what I'm doing here is going to hurt people. I keep saying that, and I'm trying to make some changes, and I think it's working in general. I think a lot has happened. What will happen at the council will continue. The wheels have started turning. Unfortunately, it takes too long. When it comes to politicians, they need a little push, and that's why I had to do what I did a couple of weeks ago, and that's still ongoing. The council have found a lot that they did not expect. You would have seen some news on the Wharf newspaper, and there are various things that I'm sure they're not telling people. But I do know that they are investigating the youth services, and things will change. So what happens with the place, that's another question entirely. Now, I'm here because people are calling me a liar. All these guys that I'm addressing, they're staying quiet. Some other guys who I completely did not expect start talking. I can't stop them, but I'm asking you to speak up now, because this is the time. And why am I doing that? You were a councillor. Now, when you became a councillor, you made a conscious decision to do something for the community, because it doesn't matter how people see it. They might think, well, you wanted to be a leader, etc. I think people choose to become a politician primarily because, first thing, they want to do something for the community. They see a problem, or they think that they can help. That's why they become a politician in the first place. And when you became a politician, you took an oath. Yeah. So I'm asking you to dig deep and find the most honest person in you and think about this whole situation. Think why I'm in this in the first place. These guys were not willing to change. I've been speaking to you guys long before I started these videos and came out of the club. These guys, they were inside this big bubble that I could not penetrate from the inside. So I thought, well, I had to do something. I had to come outside to do something and see if I could prick the bubble, and hopefully we can. But it's not something I can do all by myself. This is a community matter. This place was given to us by the council, and as such, It's a community issue. It belongs to the community. Obviously, the council have failed us on that, and that's where, as I said, the council is looking into all of that. Now, you've been at the club 12, 13 years ago, I think, and when you came here, you saw all the young people, all the people playing badminton, everybody's enjoying it, but you also saw what the management were up to. You were at the council, you were involved with some funding allocations, but you also know that this place given to us is also a funding because it's paid for by the council. And you knew there was some funding, and you started telling people because you saw that these are, gullible, naive guys just playing, and you felt some moral duty to tell these guys that there was some funding that they don't seem to know about. Okay? Now you made a conscious decision there. It takes a bit of thinking. You made a choice, and I think it's the right choice, because if you see that people are doing certain things and they don't seem to know about something else, and I had other people telling me these sort of things, and I didn't want to believe them. So when you started telling people, and the people started talking about, have you heard this and that, and I thought, well, I really did not want to believe it, but, I had in the back of my mind still the possibility. But then eventually you came across with some paperwork to people. You gave it to Shamim, you gave it to other people, and Shamim brought it to me, and he asked in front of you, did I know about this? Because I've been here long enough, and he's been here longer than me. And I said no, and we both started talking, and started making some noise, and then Nazim came over and took him away. Now, later, obviously, me and Shamim had a few more chats, and I was hoping that we could take this opportunity to change things. And it all went quiet. The scumbag decided to sell me out and make a deal with these guys so that he could get the games, because that's what it was all about for him. He just wanted to play the best games. He didn't want to do anything else. Prior to that, me and Shamim were working together. We found various ways of working. He just wanted the best games. Everybody who came to the club, they were just sort of chucked in the direction of me, and everybody knew that they could come and talk to me, and so they did. Now, aside from all of that, you've been here long enough to know the two main aspects of the problems I've raised here. One, they have not allowed for kids to actually use the place as was the condition by which the place was given to us. And when I knew all of that, I could not just, ignore it all, because I knew that this, I'm not the most honest guy there is. But when you see a situation like this where kids are supposed to use the place and the adults are using it, and when the kids come along, they don't want them because they're not good enough. Obviously, we needed high standard players, but when it comes to the kids side of things, it's not about the standard. You just allow it. You just say, right, guys, come along and play. Find some way of doing it. That would have fulfilled our obligation to the community to make sure that this place is given to the kids. No council property is given to a community organization or for a sports purpose without kids being involved. Now, and so what was I to do? I could either get angry, just leave it all, ignore it. I could not ignore it, as you can see, the kind of person I am. So, I asked everybody, why don't these guys who play the best games, why not you get them to spend some time with the kids? Why don't they do it? Nobody wanted to do it. And the management just kept saying, well, if they don't want to do it, they don't want it. So I could either run away or ignore it all or do something myself, and I did. Now, you saw all of that. Come forward and say something, please. In the management, they told people that they were a trust in some way, They did not have to explicitly say that all the time, but they kept saying to people that we nominate who can be chairman, who can be secretary, etc. And you guys can vote. I don't need to explain all of that. You've been in council meetings and you've seen how things work, and this was clearly wrong because you grumbled many times in many AGMs. You were one of the people, like me, grumbled. Obviously you couldn't say much because these guys were your friends, and you can see where you would have been if you'd said anything more. Now, as to all the things I'm saying right now, you might think, well, hang on, why are you telling everybody else? Look, Atabai, all the people in the club know this, yeah? This is not a secret. And if that's the case, then me saying it here should not be a secret. Okay? So I hope you're not upset or offended by me actually calling on you to come out with the most honest person in you to come and say this, because you are an elder person within the club. You are also a person who knows what's going on. You were an ex-counselor, but also, you've been to Hajj a few times, or maybe at least once. Now, I know it's not the most, I'm probably being quite hypocritical to use religion here, but religion is supposed to make people the most honest that they can be. Okay? When you go to a court or when you go somewhere else, I think when you became a counselor, you probably expected to take an oath, and you probably had a Quran there. There's a reason why people use religion. So I'm asking you to dig deep, find the most honest person in you, and come out and say what you need to say. Do not hold back. I gave up everything that I've done in this club. I sacrificed. I could have taken a different turn. I knew when things were not going the way I would expect years ago. I could have taken a completely different turn to all of this. Even 2-3 years ago, when I knew big problems were coming, I could have taken a different turn, but I didn't. I chose to stay in this path, and these guys, all of them, know exactly what I'm saying now, because I said the same thing many, many times. And this is the way I'd speak to everybody. This is not just these guys in the club. I speak to everybody because I am as you see me. Like Mustafiz, who came along, he found, I've never seen this guy for about 12, 13 years. He heard about all these videos. He came along and he came and said about me that this guy is, he's a straightforward guy. He hasn't seen me. I'm not rude. I don't have a fight off the course. Okay, on the course I get angry sometimes, but we should know this is a warrior sport. You go to the course, adrenaline is pumping, things happen, you get angry, but we should know, or at least our management should tell people, when you come off the court, leave everything on the court. Me as a coach and other people that I work with, we teach our kids, we tell them, whatever happens on the court, you leave. Now, other people have come along, Ronald came along and said, I am the only guy who's actually done anything because he saw exactly what happened here. Yeah? Now, I'm asking you, come forward, say something, show some real leadership as an elder person within the community and as a person who actually knows all of this, because I don't think you lie. Initially people were saying this and that about you, and they expected people to understand that you were lying about all this. But of course, you show the paperwork. I didn't look into all of that. I didn't look into all the stuff that I'm looking at right now until I started the arguments. So I hope you find it in you to come forward. Now, let me go back to the question of the exploitations. These guys come onto various Facebook pages and start talking about, well, look, we have this group here, we have these young guys here now, and they're talking about they're promoted. As much as I am so happy for these young guys to actually be able to play in this club and have the opportunity and go out there and play league and play the tournaments and become better players, clubs have many teams who have promoted. This is not the best thing that has happened. The only reason these guys are making the fuss is because they're trying to show people, look, young guys, we're giving them opportunity. Yeah, opportunity that I created for them to come into the club in the first place, starting 10, 12 years ago. Okay? The other thing is, we had a team who got promoted to Division 1 a couple of years ago. And they were the youngest groups in our club at the time. And when they did, these guys, and unfortunately, the first team actually got relegated. And these guys were so upset about everything. These guys get promoted, we got relegated. They pulled their pants off. And in fact, the year after that, when they started telling them, look, you can't stay in the Division 1 because you're not good enough players. We should play. You play down here somewhere. And then they said, no, well, we got promoted, but look, don't split us up. Take us all down there. We won't stay together. And that's when things turned. They got targeted and they had to leave. They were told to leave. Where's the hypocrisy? Do you see the hypocrisy in this? Huh? Now, I have not lied. If you truly believe I have lied, come and just say it. What else can I do? Now, if you can do that, watch how many other people come forward and start talking. Because all they're looking for is somebody to actually truly just say what needs to be said. And these guys will not continue with their hypocrisy. They'll try and change, because that is ultimately what we're trying to achieve here. Yeah? What's going to happen in 50, 60 years' time in this community? Look, our ancestors, our fathers and our parents came here, didn't think that they would stay here this long, and they did. We have grown up in this country. I am now 45. How old are you? Think about what you must do. These are the things. This is where you become a leader, not just become a counselor and that's the end of it. It's what you do after you become a counselor. It's what you do in the community that matters, that takes us as a community to the future. Now, I have not told a lie out of all the things that I've said so far. Um, Apart from one thing, of course. You know, in one of my very first videos, I said there are a lot of donkeys in this place I'm working with. But it's not true. I lied because it hurts people. It hurt them. One of these guys who came forward and he started calling me a donkey. He thinks that it will hurt me so much because he called me a donkey. Truth is, I don't mind being called a donkey sometimes. It's why people call me a donkey that hurts. And in this case, I have not lied. So the only thing I've lied about is there are a lot of donkeys. The truth is, there's only one donkey in that place. And he's got a mane to go with it. And sometimes when he's playing the games, you can hear him making all sorts of noises. And sometimes he sounds like a donkey. See if you can guess who that person is. I have not lied. I have just hurt people. I've insulted people because I am talking about something that is shameful, very embarrassing for the club, for the community, for the people involved. So please, find the courage in you, find the most honest person in you, and see if you can actually do this. Come forward and say something.